Fine hair after 60 is not the real problem. The shape is. What many women describe as thin hair is often not only about how much hair they have. It can also be about where the volume sits, where the ends fall, how the color reflects light, and how the haircut frames the face. A haircut cannot create new follicles. It cannot reverse medical hair loss. But the right shape can make the hair you already have look fuller, softer, and more balanced. And the first mistake is especially tricky because it sounds like the perfect solution. In this video, you'll see 6 shape mistakes that can make fine hair look thinner after 60. You'll also learn why each mistake matters, what it does visually, and what to ask your hairdresser for instead. This is not about chasing unrealistic thickness, hiding your age, or copying a hairstyle from a photo that may not match your own hair. It is about understanding shape, balance, and proportion, so the hair you already have can work in your favor. Let's start with a mistake many women request when they want more volume. Without realizing it can quietly remove the fullness they were hoping for. The first mistake is asking for too many layers. Layers are not automatically bad. The right layers can add movement, softness, and shape. But on fine hair, too many short or aggressive layers can reduce the visible density of the hair, especially through the ends. When the ends look wispy, separated, or broken up, the eye reads the whole hairstyle as thinner. Visual fullness is not only about height at the roots. It is also about how supported the shape looks from the middle down to the perimeter. Many women with fine hair ask for more layers because they want more lift. But what they often get is less structure. The hair may move more, but it can also look less solid. And when fine hair loses too much structure, the style can collapse faster during the day. Instead of chasing layers everywhere, think in terms of controlled softness. The goal is not maximum texture. The goal is movement without making the ends disappear. A good haircut for fine hair should still have a clear shape. It should not look like every section has been thinned out. It should allow the hair to swing softly, but still give the eye a clean outline. If your hair is fine, ask for soft internal movement, light layering, and a shape that keeps enough density around the outer edge. This keeps the haircut light enough to move, but strong enough to look intentional on camera and in real life. A useful phrase for your hairdresser is, "I want soft movement, but I don't want the ends to look thin." That sentence helps protect the fullness you already have. The second mistake is placing volume too low. This is a common visual problem in mature hairstyles. The hair may not actually be flat everywhere, but the fullness may be sitting in the wrong area. When volume gathers around the jawline, neck, or lower sides, it can pull the eye downward. The face can look heavier, longer, or more tired, even when the haircut is soft. With fine hair, placement matters more than size. Bigger is not always better. What usually creates a fresher look is subtle support near the crown, upper sides, and cheekbone area. Think of it this way. If all the fullness lives at the bottom, the top looks flatter by comparison. And when the top looks flat, the whole hairstyle can appear less lifted. The goal is not dramatic height. The goal is gentle lift in the right place. A small amount of shape near the upper face can often look more elegant than a large amount of volume near the neck. This is especially important if your hair is cut into a bob, a lob, or a shoulder-length shape. These styles can be beautiful after 60, but if the widest part sits too low, the style can lose its lift. You do not need stiff teasing or an old-fashioned helmet shape. You need a haircut that gently supports the upper part of the silhouette. Sometimes that means a subtle crown layer. Sometimes it means a different blow-dry direction. Sometimes it simply means removing extra weight from the lower sides. A good phrase for your hairdresser is, "I'd like more lift near the crown and less weight near the bottom." That gives direction without stiffness. The third mistake is leaving the ends too heavy. This may sound confusing, because too many layers can make fine hair look thin. But the opposite problem can also happen. When the ends are too blunt, dense, or blocky for the rest of the haircut, the shape can lose balance. The bottom becomes visually heavy, while the top and middle look flat. This is where proportion matters. A hairstyle can have healthy ends and still look soft. But if the bottom line is too thick for fine hair, the style can look stiff, dated, or wider at the bottom instead of fuller overall. Mature fine hair often looks best with ends that are refined, not shredded and not bulky. You want the ends to look intentional and healthy, but not harsh. This is especially important with bobs and shoulder-length cuts. A hard, heavy line can make the upper part of the hair seem flatter. A softened edge can make the entire shape feel lighter and more elegant. There is a difference between a clean edge and a heavy edge. A clean edge gives polish. A heavy edge can drag the style downward. The best version is usually somewhere in the middle. Enough structure to look full, but enough softness to keep the style modern. If your hair tends to flip out at the bottom or form a triangular shape, the ends may need refining. If your top always looks flat even after styling, the bottom may be taking too much visual attention. A helpful phrase is, "I want the ends to stay healthy, but I'd like them softened so the shape doesn't feel heavy." That gives movement without losing polish. The fourth mistake is keeping the wrong parting for too long. A parting may seem like a small detail, but on fine hair it can make a big visual difference. Many women keep the exact same part for years. Over time, the hair can become used to falling in one direction, which can make the roots lie flatter. The result is less lift and more visibility through the part line. It is important to be honest here. If your part is becoming much wider than before, that can sometimes be a sign of ongoing hair thinning. Styling can improve the appearance, but it does not treat the underlying cause. If thinning is sudden, rapid, patchy, itchy, painful, or worrying, speak with a dermatologist. But in everyday styling, a small change in the part can improve the look of volume. A deep part is not always the answer, and a middle part is not always the problem. What matters is whether the part supports your natural growth pattern and opens the face. A slightly shifted part, a soft side part, or a less rigid line can create the illusion of more root lift. It can also make the front of the hairstyle feel less fixed, less flat, and more natural. The part should not look like a hard line drawn across the head. It should look soft, breathable, and flattering. A slightly imperfect part can sometimes look more youthful and more natural than a perfectly straight line. You can also ask your stylist to show you how to dry the roots in a slightly different direction. This can help the hair stand away from the scalp more naturally, instead of lying in the same flat pattern every day. Ask your hairdresser, "Can we test a softer part or a slightly different direction for more lift?" Sometimes the change is small, but visually powerful. The fifth mistake is ignoring face framing shape. Face framing does not create more hair, but it changes where the eye goes. That matters. If the hair falls straight and heavy beside the face with no softness, the face may look wider, longer, or more tired, depending on the cut. But when the shape around the face is gentle and well placed, the hairstyle can draw attention toward the eyes, cheekbones, and smile. Face framing is not decoration. It is structure. For women over 60 with fine hair, face framing usually works best when it is soft and blended. Harsh, short, disconnected pieces can make the front look thin or chopped. Light shaping around the cheekbones or jawline can make the haircut feel more intentional. This can be especially helpful if the hair is finer around the front or temples. The right framing can make the front look more polished and less sparse. Face framing should work with your face shape. Round faces, long faces, square faces, and heart-shaped faces all need slightly different placement. The best framing does not cover the face, it supports it. For example, if your face is rounder, too much width at the cheeks may not be the best choice. If your face is longer, very long straight pieces can make it look even longer. If your jawline is strong, soft movement around the cheekbones can create balance without hiding your features. The key is not to copy one photo. The key is to ask where the front pieces should begin, how soft they should be, and whether they make the face feel more open. A practical phrase for your hairdresser is, "I'd like soft face framing that opens the face without making the front look thin." That is clear and useful. The sixth mistake is choosing a flat one-tone color that removes dimension. This is not about saying gray hair is a problem. Gray hair can be beautiful, refined, and elegant. The issue is not gray itself. The issue is when the color has no dimension, and the hair stops reflecting light in a flattering way. Fine hair often benefits from visual depth. When the color is very flat, very dark, very ashy, or very matte, the hair can look less lively and less full. Color affects contrast. It affects shine. And it affects how the edges of the hairstyle are perceived. Subtle tonal variation, gentle brightness around the face, or soft highlights and lowlights can make the hair appear more polished. This does not mean everyone needs highlights. It means that if your color feels dull or too uniform, the haircut may not be the only thing affecting the result. Gray blending, soft silver dimension, beige tones, warm neutrals, and low contrast refinement can work beautifully in mature hair. The best choice depends on your skin tone, maintenance level, and personal style. The most elegant color is not always the brightest color. It is the color that makes the hair and face work together. Dimension can be very subtle. It does not have to look striped, bold, or high maintenance. Even a little softness around the face can make the haircut read as more expensive and more alive. If your hair is naturally gray, the goal may be shine and tone rather than coverage. If your hair is colored, the goal may be to avoid a flat solid block of color. In both cases, the question is the same. Does the color support the shape, or does it make the shape look heavier and flatter? A useful phrase is, I'd like the color to have a little more dimension so the hair doesn't look flat. That one idea can improve the appearance of the cut without changing the cut itself. One more thing is worth remembering. A good hairstyle after 60 should be easy enough to live with. If a cut only looks good for 10 minutes after a professional blow-dry, it may not be the best everyday shape for you. Fine hair usually needs a cut that supports your natural texture, your routine, and the amount of styling you are actually willing to do. This is why communication matters so much. Instead of saying, make it fuller, try to describe where you want the fullness to appear. Instead of saying, give me layers, explain that you want movement without losing density. Instead of saying, I want a younger style, ask for a softer shape, better balance, and a more polished frame around the face. These details sound small, but they guide the whole haircut. They help your stylist understand whether you need lift, softness, refinement, or dimension. And when the goal is clear, the result usually looks more natural. So let's bring everything together. If you have fine hair after 60, you may want to ask for soft movement, not too many layers. Lift in the right place, especially where it supports the face. Ends that are refined, not heavy and not wispy. A parting that encourages natural volume. Gentle face framing that flatters without thinning out the front. And color that adds dimension, not flatness. Notice what these ideas have in common. They are not about trying to look like someone else. They are not about chasing unrealistic thickness. And they do not promise to medically reverse hair loss. They are about using shape, placement, and visual balance to help the hair you already have look its best. If your fine hair feels flatter than it used to, do not assume there is only one reason. It may not be just density. It may also be layering, volume placement, end weight, parting, face framing, or color dimension. Small changes can create meaningful visual differences. And that is encouraging because the answer is not always drastic. Sometimes the most flattering result comes from a more thoughtful shape, not a more dramatic haircut. The best results often come from small adjustments repeated consistently. A slightly better part, a softer outline, a lighter bottom shape, and color that reflects light more gently. None of these changes need to feel dramatic. Together, they can make the hair look calmer, fresher, and more intentional. It also helps to take a photo of your hair on an ordinary day, not only on a salon day. That photo can show your real root lift, your usual parting, and where the shape becomes flat. A realistic reference often gives your stylist better information than a perfect inspiration photo. The clearer the conversation, the easier it becomes to choose a haircut that feels elegant on the first day and still works when you style it at home. That is how a small salon decision becomes a hairstyle you can actually live with. Before your next salon visit, choose one main goal. Do you want more lift at the crown? Softer ends? A better parting? More flattering face framing? Or more dimension in your color? Going in with one clear priority can help your stylist make better decisions. This video is about appearance and styling, not medical treatment. If your hair loss is sudden, rapidly worsening, patchy, painful, or associated with scalp symptoms, speak with a dermatologist. But if your hair is simply looking flatter, finer, or less balanced than before, these 6 adjustments can help you have a better conversation at your next salon visit. You do not need to walk in asking for a completely new identity. You can walk in with clearer words, better direction, and a more realistic goal. If you'd like, In the next video we can look at the best bob shapes for women over 60 with fine hair, and which ones tend to lift the face instead of dragging it down. Tell me in the comments. What is your biggest challenge right now? Volume, parting, color, or finding the right cut? And stay with us for more elegant, realistic hair advice for women over 60.